What's up, you guys? Chet-Guthrie, the Dream Poet here, coming to you all with a very brief statement before the start of this video. And anyway, guys, as of September 1st, my book, Ghosts and Mysteries of Bradley County, Tennessee, has hit Amazon shelves, or Kindle shelves. I'm not sure exactly what. Anyway, long story short, Kindle, Amazon Kindle, they're all owned by the same people. Anyway, you guys, I'm super excited. This is my very first self-published book. And anyway, I thought, I would just share it with you guys. You can find the link to this book in the description box below. If you've ever wanted to find a way to support the channel or support my adventures to keep this boat afloat, well, this is a perfect idea. You can give it as a gift to a friend, a family member, or just a book to share around the campfire for this fall season. Because as you all know, haunt season is upon us. It's my favorite time of year, my favorite filming time of year, and you know what? This book is awesome as well. But anyway, guys, I'm going to let the cameras roll. This was a fun vlog to make. It's a really good one, so let those cameras roll now. What's up, you guys? Chet-Guthrie, the Dream Poet here, coming to you all with another fun-filled Chattanooga vlog. And if you all caught the last video, I was down in Little Debbie Park in Collegedale. By the way, Collegedale is just right up the road from Chattanooga. Really not all that far apart from one another. But anyway, guys, today I am out here to see the International Towing Museum. If you all did not know, the tow truck was invented here in Chattanooga. Yes, right in my own backyard. I don't think a lot of people know that. But yes, you guys, that's why they have the museum here. My friend Andy's Journeys, he's done a video on this, but I think he did one a while back. I think it's been a few years. But anyway, guys, I wanted to see this one. I wanted to check it out. And plus, I mean, the weather is exactly like it was when I went out to Little Debbie Park about a week ago. But anyway, let's check this place out. I think it's going to be very interesting. Let's do it. And by the way, before we start, Channel 12 is right across the street from the museum. It's kind of interesting. I graduated in 2018 with a degree in journalism. Almost had a degree in forestry, but was failed 3 days after I walked. And you know what? I still have not had an actual career job in journalism. But at least it's cool to stand on the other side of the street. Kind of like, the other side of the tracks, as they say. It's interesting. It's interesting how life will take you to different places. But still, one day I'm hoping that I can get a job in the journalism field. I might have to walk in there one of these days and just ask about what they're doing instead of trying to fill out online. And outside the museum, they have this really awesome memorial. They call it the Wall of the Fallen, dedicated this 9th day of September 2006 to the men and women who have lost their lives in the line of service within the towing and recovering industry. Graciously donated by the Miller Family Foundation. So let's go inside and let's see what that is all about. I really, really like the statue that they have of a man saving another man by holding his hand, and it looks like there is a child that he is holding. I don't know. Oh, I know what that is. He's holding a tow line. So it's probably somebody holding up another person who's holding on to a tow line. And you can tell that they do have a fountain, but it's probably been drained for the season. It is September, mid-September after all. I mean, October's really not that far off. Huh. And right across from the statue, they have the names of those who have fallen while working in the line of duty for the towing industry. Now, it is something that's very unique. You wouldn't really think about it unless you actually thought about it. But these are the men and women who lost their lives while doing their job, a job they loved. And I will tell you all, the tow industry they are some of the most helpful people in the entire world. Like if you've got a flat tire, you're in a wreck, anything like that, you're in vehicular trouble, these men and women would go out and help you, and they paid the ultimate price, which I think it's really interesting. Very somber too. And it looks like they are always continually adding names. Looks like the most recent one was Corey L. Deering. Born July 28th, 1982. Died June 21st, 2023. So he wasn't far off from his birthday. Wasn't far off at all. Which now leads us to the museum. And right outside, they have a really awesome bench. Looks like it was cut out of metal. Or like, you know how like they can cut with metal and all that stuff. That is really cool. Very artistic as well. I will tell you, I kind of wish I knew my way around metalwork. It would definitely come in handy. But then again, you never know. I'm still young. I can still do great things. The sky is the limit, and you're never too young to be who you want to be. By the way, if you don't know, that quote came from The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. So, let's go inside. Let's check out this amazing museum. By the way, the price to get in, or I should say the admission price, it isn't too bad. It's about 10 bucks, I believe. But here outside, I'm guessing in the lobby, it's like they have a few old school Texaco things here and there. I think that's an old gas pump. And I know this is an old gas pump, of course. Looks like they've all been completely restored to their original glory. And I will tell you, there is something about like older gas pumps that there's just an artwork about them, like an aesthetic about it, that I think present day we have lost. And I really like this. The International Towing Museum. Explore the history of an industry at its finest. And it looks like there's already a lot of cool stuff in there. So let's head inside. Real quick, at the beginning of the tour of the museum, they have a very cool video that they play for everyone, and it explains the history about the tow truck. As I said outside, it was started in Chattanooga. 1913 was around that time when a gentleman's car had gotten stuck in Chickamauga Creek. And it took those men several hours to get the car back onto the road. But one of the gentlemen had the idea to build a wrecking contraption on the back of his truck, and this became the very first tow truck in the entire United States and even the entire world. And right here, this is what some of the earliest models look like. Almost like a Model T, with a wrecking contraption on the very back. So cool to see something so old that was the very beginnings of such a storied industry. And right here, this kind of talks a little bit more about it. 1913 Locomobile with Holmes 485. The chassis is a 1913 Locomobile Model 48 that was manufactured in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and was sold for approximately $6,000. The Model 48 was an expensive luxury model equipped with more features and more power within the standard Locomobile models of the time. This vehicle was equipped with a 6-cylinder T-head engine rated at 85 horsepower and 3-speed transmission. The Model 48 was renowned for superb engineering, use of very finest materials, durability, and smooth operation. Its solid design made it ideal as a recovery vehicle for its era. The model also exhibits a right-side drive, as left-side drive did not become a standard until early 1920, following the Model T's success. So anyway, this is it. I mean, this is so beautiful. This is the genesis of the wrecker. It's so cool to see, like, all the original gears that made this thing so amazing. Just look at the back. I mean, the back is what really makes it so interesting. And right across from it, they have another one, Ernest Holmes. And by the way, Ernest Holmes, I believe he was the one who came up with the idea. Actually, I believe it was Ernest Holmes. This is another older model. Day or night, phone M6080. You know, that's what phone numbers used to look like. But just look at what it used to be. I mean, just look at that. Just think, that's how they used to get older cars out of the dirt, out of a jab, out of a flat tire, broken engine. I believe this is the replica of the first one. And just look how it was done. You gotta think, for the early years of the vehicle, the car, it used to be like what it was in, well, what it is today in Europe. Built on the right-hand side. Just think, that would be such a mind F if you did that present day. Although, when I worked for Take 5 Oil Change, I did, well, this was in Jacksonville, Florida. I did see one of those cars that was built like that. Automobile wrecker number 1.
Yes.
Looks like this explains a little bit more. The Cadillac with Holmes 680. The 1913 Cadillac was the second to last year of the Model 30 produced by Cadillac. 3 body styles were available at the base cost of $1975, and depending on options could be as high as $3,200 for the limousine style. The 365.8 cubic inch L-head 4-speed transmission supported a 120-inch base for increased stability. I mean, this is so cool. Just think how far we have come in this age. And right across from some of those original models, or replicas of those original models, they have the world's fastest wrecker. Set world closed course speed record for a wrecker. Average speed 109 miles per hour. NASCAR timing. August 1st, 1979. Alabama International Motor Speedway in Talladega, Alabama. So yes, this is the fastest tow truck in the entire world. And it also looks like they've kept it in pretty good shape. Just think, that thing can go 109 miles per hour. Wouldn't that be so cool if you could take it out on the speed, like on an actual like tow, like out, like imagine I-75, somebody breaks down. I wonder if, like in today's standards, I wonder if this thing could really match up. I think it probably could. It's weird to think that that thing can go 109 miles an hour. Pretty crazy to think. But very, very cool nonetheless. And this right here, this is a 1926 Graham Bros, or 1926 Graham Brothers. I don't know, every time I see Bros, I think about Dos Bros, you know, that Mexican restaurant. With 3-ton Manly auto crane. The Graham brothers got their start in Indiana shortly after the turn of the century. The three brothers, Ray, Robert, and Joseph Graham, would start the Graham Brothers Company in the 1910s, building frames and conversion kits of Ford trucks. In the 1920s, Graham Brothers would begin exclusively building trucks for Dodge using their inline 4-cylinders and drivetrains. So this tow truck, this was built by the Graham Brothers. It's a 1920s model. I think it's 1926. Broad and James Towing. Kind of see, that's kind of interesting. You have a 3-speed compared to, nowadays, you've got Teslas that are electric driven. I think I mean, we live in an interesting time. Although, I mean, electric cars have been around for a while. Look at their rigging. Look how the Graham brothers did it. It's kind of reminiscent of what we have today. Graham Brothers trucks. Looks like that is looks like it's an advertisement. Merchants Express, $665. Commercial truck, $775. Just all the different prices. Nowadays, in today's world, you could not touch, like with the tow truck, you couldn't touch a tow truck with that kind of money. I like this kind of style too. And right across from the Graham brothers, they have a 1926 Ford with 3-ton Manley crane. Or Manley, did I say that right? Manley crane? This is another cool old style of tow truck. Scotty's Carriage Works. Takes you all the way back in time. And look how the Manley wrecking crane was constructed. It's kind of interesting to see how, like, it bends down. You can actually tow it up and pick something up with it. Now, I've seen these somewhere before at antique stores. They're about $100. Sometimes $120 a piece. But you know what? I like the Ford style. Let's see. Cameron, Montana. I think that's Cameron, Montana. Or it's maybe Cameron, Missouri. So it's 1926. And across from all those, they have Andy's Wrecker Service. Day and night towing. Phone 350W. I don't know. That's how, that's how phone numbers used to look, or phone numbers used to look, I should say. And this one is from Minnesota. Let's see what it says about it. 1937 Chevrolet with 3-ton Waver auto crane. This truck is a 1937 Chevy half-ton pickup equipped with a 3-ton Weaver auto crane. This model of Chevy was one of the most popular body styles of trucks used by Chevy throughout the late 30s into the early 40s. The 1937 Chevy was equipped with a 216.5 cut-inch blue frame with 6-cylinder engine. The blue frame was rated at 78 horsepower and 170 pounds per feet of torque. So darn, even back then, these old trucks can handle a lot. I'd probably even say, like, these old school trucks could probably do even better than some of these newer trucks. Plus, I mean, back then, the cabs, were more stylish. I'll say that much. They were more stylish. I don't know nowadays if you get into some of these newer trucks, I don't know. There's just something that I think the auto industry has lost as they make newer and newer newer and newer tow trucks and other vehicles every year. And oh my God, they have Towmater. And as you all know, Mater, sorry, why did I say Towmater? Mater was voiced by Larry the Cable Guy in Cars. By the way, that's one of my favorite Pixar films. I still don't know how I feel, about Disney putting like a themed area in Frontierland. I don't know, that one just doesn't really sit too well with me. But anyway, Mater, voiced by Larry the Cable Guy, my childhood idol, and probably why I think the way I do. I don't know, I like Larry the Cable Guy. I wonder if there is any info on it. I mean, really, it's just a golf cart that has been converted into a tow truck, obviously. I like how they do have it, though. That's pretty neat. I love that. That is so cool. And this one right here, this is a 1935 Ford with a 3-ton Weaver crane. Kroger's carriage, or is it Bonner's or Brogner? Anyway, I'm not too good on reading that kind of font or that type of font, but I will admire this Ford. I love it when they, they can restore these kind of trucks to their old former glory. Just look how they did it way back when. They put wood in there originally in the 1930s. Nowadays it's like plastic or fiberglass or other stuff like that. When you get in the back of your truck, it's hot, you'll get burned. It's not fun. But looks like back then that wasn't really the case. Maybe that's the reason why they originally used wood in these older models. Not for the style, but if you are getting in the back of your tow truck on a hot summer day, at least you're not going to get burned. And look at this O'Hare. The wheels really put off a stylish kind of vibe, because way back when they used to kind of do up the tires in a bit of a white color. But this is when they began to get more into the modern age, moving from the 19s into the 1920s. Now you're moving into the 30s. I don't know, for some reason I feel like this thing, if it were a suit, it would probably be like one of those fine fancy white suits. It's got the AAA thing on it. That's cool. Well, look how they originally used to do up the the mirrors, the rear view mirrors. They used to put them on the wheels. This thing is fancy. I wonder what else is about this O'Hare. Looks like, oh, that's why it's fancy. It's a 1929 Packard. That kind of explains a little bit more on it. Fancy. This is the only tow truck of its kind in existence. And it was constructed in 1961 with 1953 Holmes W70. And a little bit more info on this, the only one of its kind. This W70 was a 70-ton unit manufactured in the early 1950s for a military project that didn't meet the military's expectations and was disbanded. Holmes manufactured only 4 of these units, and this unit is the only one still in existence. The M70 is the largest mechanical wrecker ever manufactured and was the first to have PTO, chain-driven power swing, boom, and extension. The wrecker is all original except for 4 bolster legs. The wire drum has a capacity of 500 feet, a 7/8 wire rope with 2-speed winches controlled from behind the cab. Chassis is a 1961 autocar with 168 Cummins diesel, backed with 5-speed and 4-speed auxiliary. So that is really cool. The only one of its kind. And it was a military project. And it was Dad's, apparently. Looks like this talks a little bit more about it. Restoring the W70, the largest mechanical wrecker ever built. And this is a magazine article on it. It's so cool. This is the largest tow truck ever constructed or even designed. Now this museum is really cool. I'm wishing I'd probably come here sooner, a few years earlier into my YouTube career. And oh my god, look at the size. Okay, now that is a large That's a large wrecking device that they have on the back of that. Just think. I mean, nowadays, that's not really, probably not nothing, because, you know, they have bigger ones that they use, you know, that they use to pick up semis with. But dude, that is large. It looks like you can go inside. Well, not really inside, but you can see the interior in the schematics. Now here's a more storied timeline of the tow truck. And by the way, it was all started by Ernest Holmes Sr. But all of this really began with, well, with this one right here, with the necessity of needing to recover and tow customers' cars to his garage. Ernest Sr., along with the help of several individuals, built his first wrecker in 1916, mounted on a Cadillac. 2 years later, a patent was obtained with the first production unit built in 1919 and named the 680, which was the cost of the wrecker. So, and by the way, that's a photo of the original. We saw a replica over there, just a few minutes ago. But this tells his story, and you can thank this man for the creation of the tow truck. There was a need for it, a very big need. You gotta think, present day, where would we be without the wrecker? I know, my Kia would still be on I-75 if we did not have the present day wrecker. We've got some older photos, some old schematics of what it used to look like. And here's some wooden pieces. I believe this is wooden. And now if you're a fan of military stuff or military history, this wrecker is the one for you. These wreckers, they sent out across Europe during World War II, especially 1943. And I think that they made, I want to say they made about 6,000 or 7,000 of these. The historic marker will tell a little bit more. Looks like it does not say. Oh no, 7,238 units were built during the era. But yeah, they would have sent these things out on the beaches of Normandy. And if you had a military vehicle that got stuck, broke down on enemy lines, you could rely on one of these to save your vehicle. And, well, hopefully keep you from getting shot, because, well, you wouldn't want that. But that is so interesting. It almost makes you wonder what kind of action this particular tow truck saw. Trying to get away from all the guns and whatnot. It looks like somebody may have lost their life in operating this tow truck. There's a picture of it right there. That was so cool. You know, you would never think about how helpful and how important the tow truck is. It spans all the way back even to the World Wars. I kind of doubt World War I, because that's when it was kind of getting started. And look, it's a midget. Well, to be more specific on that, it is a Rogner's Towing and Recovery. And my goodness, this thing is itty bitty. See, and it's called the 1970 Connie. Model Holmes Commander 1200. The body of this truck was modeled after a Holmes Commander 1200. The Connie is with a standard 354cc 2-cylinder engine rated at 20 HP, 20 horsepower. The size of the vehicle is misleading because it would not immediately appear that it could tow another vehicle. This unit was tested by towing a Ford Escort just to prove that it could tow. The size is ideal for towing small vehicles and maneuvering small streets such as those that exist in Japan and dense urban areas. The company that originally designed the Aki Aircraft Co. was a Japanese aircraft manufacturer which manufactured designs for the Imperial Japanese Navy before and after World War II. The company eventually went out of business and was purchased by Nissan. Oh my goodness. It's so itty bitty, but it can still take an A whooping. Like, oh my goodness. It's like the Chihuahua of tow trucks. But still, I mean, Chihuahuas are mean. Looks like you can get inside. But I don't think I could get in here. I'm too fat. Well, I know plenty of guys that could not fit in here. I mean, cause look, I mean, the wheel's almost up to my stomach fat. Wouldn't you like to have been one of the guys that had to drive one of these things? Like, oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God. And it's like getting out of my dad's Toyota Corolla. I think my dad has a Camry. I don't know, they look kind of the same. And they have some more rigging right over here. Ernest Holmes & Co., Chattanooga, Tennessee. Model 110. And these wrecking devices, or these wrecking pieces, looks like they've been pretty well restored as well. Let's see. Wreckers by Weld built. Huh. Just gives you an idea. But still, that is the smallest tow truck I have ever seen in my life. And this is a 1947 GMC Bubble Nose. Bubble Nose is a 1947 GMC cab over engine. GMC vehicles share mechanical similarities to the Chevrolet products because GMC operates as the premier luxury offering for General Motors. Apparently the Bubble Nose is a rare example of a custom boom built by a bus company in order to tow buses in the 1940s and 50s. So this baby was used to tow buses during the 50s. Good old Bubble Nose. Belgium, Wisconsin. This is interesting how this one was built. Let's see. When it's a tough tow, they let George do it. He is one of those guys who will come out any time or day to help anybody. If driver's broke, he'll loan him expense money to get him back on the road. There are not a lot of people like that around anymore. Well, ain't that the truth? This is cool. This Bubble Nose I like. You can feel like the story behind it. I know you can do that with, like, I don't know, for some like the older vehicles or like older things, you can kind of get a vibe of what it's been through. And over in this corner, they have a collection of tow truck toys, which also I think is really cool because you can see the models. And some of these models are, well, very well detailed, although they're also very expensive. I like the fact that they were built into a converted gas pump. That's pretty neat that they did that here at the museum. Miniature record collection, owned by Peter Forrest, San Francisco, California. A collection of approximately 200 miniature records collected here and there over a period of 25 years. Several of the records were collected abroad by Peter's brother while on business trips. Getting them home in one piece can be a problem. The collection did number about 400, but was reduced because of space problems. His responsibility for care cleaning had been left by his wife to Peter. Huh. So this is all one man's collection. And, well, it spans quite a bit of ways. Now that is love for the toy tow truck. And by the way, does anyone just miss like the old school Tonka toys, like, you know, the ones that were made out of metal and not plastic. When I was a kid, I mean, I was kind of on the back end of those when they stopped manufacturing them. Ooh, this one's cool. It's pretty neat. It looks like, you know, the old school Tonka toys, they used to look a lot like that. I was gonna say, was it a little Donald Trump driving it? Super highway service. Looks like we got some of the other various toys, kind of like Cookie Monster. And I'm not sure like where that one comes from, but you could tell this guy had a really big heart for collecting this kind of stuff. Kind of opens up a bit of a story, kind of like, you know, back when even tow trucks looked a lot like that. You've got wooden ones, metal ones. I wonder if they've got any of the Transformers. I don't know if Transformers ever made a tow truck Transformer or Decepticon. Either way. Ooh, that one looks like it's seen better days. Looks like we're seeing some more wooden ones now, which is also really cool. That is so neat. And now this one's really cool. That one's made out of metal, although those are made out of metal too, no duh. But wouldn't it be so cool to have one of those, just like a toy to sit on display like that? And dude, I believe these are from the 50s. 50s or the 40s. I mean, you could tell these are old. But just look how awesome these things are. And this one right up here, it's even got some gears on it. Oh my goodness. Wouldn't you have liked to have been a kid like in the early days to get one of these? Wouldn't that be so awesome? Now that must have been a time in a kid's life, especially when like the ones were made to last, you know, toys were made to last, and not you know, not cheap plastic like we have nowadays, you know, because they tend to wind up being a fixture in the front yard left by the kids. Oh, goodness. You know, and then you realize about 20 years ahead that some of these things are very expensive, and you just start kicking yourself. I think we've all been there, especially if you play with G.I. Joes. That one was not so fun. My dad has often talked about his regrets with blowing up his G.I. Joe toys. Heritage Hall and the lower gallery. Let's see what they got in the lower gallery. And look, there is a Sinclair guy giving us a tip of his hat. You know, nowadays you'd probably get like a Take 5 guy or a Valvoline guy or an Express Oil Lube guy to come out and greet you, and then later tell you it's going to cost $80, $90 for an oil change. I mean, for some people, I mean, it just comes naturally. I mean, when I first started, I mean, I doing an oil change was hard, but nowadays I just do my own oil changes. Look at that old gas pump. That old Shell gas pump. And we've got some more old school gas pumps. We got a Texaco one, a Fire Chief. Let me see, we've got a Mobile Gas. Again, very stylish for the time. Nowadays, you know, nowadays at a gas station, you know, you've just got a block. Nothing fancy like this. Which kind of sucks. I wish they could bring back some of these old school types. Because wouldn't it be cool if they brought back these kind of gas pumps? I would like it. Looks like the towing museum continues right through here. Also, move over. It's the law. And by the way, did you know that for towing, like the fatalities for like a first responder like that is 3 times as high as all the others? I didn't know that until I watched the video. Pedal power. And look at oh my god, look at these old school, you know, pedal toys. Now, if you were a kid back in the day, you would be riding in style if you had one of these. And I mean, I have seen a few of these at the antique store that I go down here, or go down to in East Ridge a lot. And for just one of these, it can get very expensive. Like upwards of like $250, $300 kind of expensive. But look at this one. This is a 2002 International with custom bill bottom bed. Well, I don't think, not for this little guy. I mean, I'm mostly looking at this little guy right here. And it kind of looks like it's built like a go-kart in a way. Yeah, because look, it's even got the little pedals that you can push and you can drive around with it. But I doubt that it can actually do anything. And look at Pinky. Well, it's not, anyway, it's not Pinky, but Bill's towing. And it looks like this truck was dedicated for fighting breast cancer. At least that's what I'm guessing, just because, you know, it's got the breast cancer loop. Hope, courage, Bill's towing. So yeah, I was about right. So yeah, it was built with a cause. Breast cancer is a pretty nasty cancer. It's not fun. Well, then again, no cancer is fun. Looks like they've got some old school tools right over here from the, let me see, Ernest Holmes SL6 tow lights, 1970 era. I believe it's up in that box right there. The Miro flare, kerosene flares. Like, I wonder how bright those burn. That's got me wondering. And this right here, this is a Holmes model floor crane. You see, it's a Model C. That's cool. Imagine you could haul an engine out of that, or you could pick up a car with that. A car that's a potato, kind of like a Dodge, because everybody knows that the Dodge is the potato of the vehicle world. Yeah, I said it. I grew up being a Ford kid, although, I mean, my family were also big Chevy people too. I mean, I feel like all the mechanics that watch my videos, they're probably gonna crap on Dodge, so I figure, why not crap on Dodge also? The history of Bill Jackson, 1926 to 2016, the father of recovery education. Bill Jackson was born on a street called Chayside in Enfield, Middlesex, UK, February 1925. And this explains his history. Looks like he's got a few books and a few things that are out. Looks like also here is a representation of him. I like the fedora. It's a nice touch. Oh, and look at this itty bitty fella. Darn it. Crawford's Wrecker Service. There we go. Oh, I wonder if it can handle a little go-kart. I feel like it probably could. Again, it makes me think about the little chihuahua that they got in the other room. Oh, and this is cool. This came from a Spanish galleon. In the 16th century, the Portuguese would invent what would be later referred to as galleons. The Spanish would appropriate the ship design and improve upon its battle capacity or capability. During the reign of King Philip II, the new ship would be called the galleon, which means armed merchant ship. The original purpose behind these ships was to deter Barbary pirates of the time from pillaging merchant vessels. Sorry. Anyway, long story short, looks like this is from the 15th century and looks like it was brought up off the ocean floor some time ago. And we got some more models right here. Crawford's Record Service. This one is from 1946. Looks like Livingston, New Jersey. Let me see. Trucker and bus towing and tire. This came from Illinois. This is a 1950s model. Looks like we've got some older stuff right here. The first heavy wrecker in central New York. Bart Nix. Now this one looks very interesting. Let's see, 1932 Indiana with custom heavy wrecker. Looks like, yeah, 1932, 1939. And its name was Bessie. So it's not really an it, it's a she. And Bart Nix. Indiana 500 official wrecker, Indianapolis. Oh, that's so neat. Utica, New York. Just look how it used to run. Or I should say how it used to work. It was definitely state of the art for its time. That's saying it lightly. And here at the museum, they actually do have a motorcycle, and that is the 1942 Indian Dispatch tow cycle. That's pretty interesting. A motorcycle that was also a tow truck. It's interesting to think how that works. Looks like it's looks like it would mostly be just used by a mechanic, I suppose, that would drive out there, maybe fix something simple. I don't know. But I really like the fact that they have a motorcycle here at the museum. And right beside Bessie, it looks like they've got another towing contraption. Looks like they got some memorabilia from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. John L. Hawkins. Miller Industries. Miller Industries, that's here in Chattanooga. And look at this golf cart. They converted it over to a wrecker. Now that is something. I'd like to see this thing work. I imagine maybe at least it could handle a small car. I think it could probably at least do that, but regardless, that is the first time I've seen a working golf cart that is set up to be a wrecker. This museum is absolutely amazing. And now, this video was probably already going to go on for about 40 minutes. So, I can't show you all everything. You guys will have to come here yourselves, especially if you live in the East Tennessee area. Especially if you live in the East Tennessee area. You know, live your heritage. You know, live what, you know, because it's kind of cool to say that if you're from the Chattanooga area or the nearby area like Cleveland or whatnot, it's really cool to say that you don't live far away or you live in the town where such an influential piece of machinery was invented. But anyway, guys, this is going to be another vlog for another day. Remember, make sure to like and subscribe, hit the bell icon. Always means a lot. Goes to show that y'all care. Now y'all want to see more awesome videos. So without further ado, you guys, this vlog is over.